Hi friends, giving you a different view today, and I apologize if I have my back to you when I'm working, but this way I can really show a close-up of how this plant looks. I've been soaking the orchid in water. This is one of my older orchids, and I repotted it in the paint can about 3 years ago. And it's way too long. I think it's 2.5. It's way too long to have waited to do this orchid. I think I've seen some little flies flying around, but I got rid of the problem majorly. I'm not catching any, but I have seen the odd one. If the TV's on and it's a light, you'll sometimes see a little bug go by. So I'm going to take this out of the pot, clean it up, and repot it. I found a local store here that sells fruit trees and flowers in the summer, and they had this bark, and this is the size bark I'm going to use. It was $1 a pound, so I got like 2 buckets like this full for $5. I was very impressed. That's what I used on the one I did in the last video, and added some other stuff, because the bottom of the Schultz's potting mix for orchids, and there's another one called Pro something. But anyway, what happens is you end up getting all the bark first, and then you're left with all this in the bottom of the bag. And I think what happens is that if you get too much of this in one place, the orchid's roots are not going to breathe. And I think when I first started potting them, that this is what was happening. So you have to make sure that when you're doing that, that you're getting enough air. And I'm sure that this, as healthy as this has been, I'm sure that's part of the problem. So I am switching to bark all the time. I've been so impressed with it now. And I'll put a little bit of this in here and there, and that's it. I'm not going to put anything else in. Some of that, I have some perlite and some charcoal in pieces, but I'm going to use this up because it's pretty well what this is anyway. So before I get to doing that, the light in the back was the latest project. My husband drilled a little hole with our bits, that those of us who went out and bought the diamond drill bit, 1/2 inch. He drilled one hole in the bottom. And then online you can buy these LED strips. Takes forever. I think they come from China. But he put a little LED strip, and they got sticky stuff on one side. So he just put them on the bottom of the vase, and then wired it through. Those who know how to wire, or their husbands can. But then I just filled it up with glass balls, and you can change it for the seasons. And it's a beautiful light. Even in the daylight it casts a nice, and the colors are good for you. There's called color therapy. Color is good. Colored glass is wonderful. Those of you who do stained glass, and I know some of you do, you could make little boxes, drill one little hole, you got a nice little light. But that was our latest project. You can use any kind of vase, bowl, put anything you want in it. Christmas balls at Christmas, but I put the colored bowls, and I like that. And before I get on with doing this, I wanted to tell you one trick I keep forgetting to say. All my orchids from, I'd say, October until now are in my garden windows, which are west windows, and I put them right in the window. The odd one might be away because the window's full, but I put them right in the window. They get the direct west light, which isn't a lot here, but it's more than from another angle. And they've been happy. I think sometimes the leaves might go more of a light red tinge to them from getting too much. But here's the secret. Here's the secret. I keep forgetting to tell you. If it's a hot day and it's getting near watering time and you're thinking they look like they needed water, and you want to give them a spa day. I've never had a spa day, but I'm sure they're wonderful. But the orchids, they love it. They talk to me, I know. So what you do is you take a cotton tea cloth. This one's not cotton. I don't have the ones I use handy right now. I don't know where I put them, but anyway, I take a cotton tea cloth. I have 3 that I use. I put them under hot water, as if in the olden days you were going to give a man a shave and you put it on. So you've got this nice tea cloth, and it's cotton, and it's been washed lots of times. It's usually one of my old ones. I have 3 that I do use. And then I take it, put it under hot water, wring it out. By the time you opened it, it's a nice warm. And if your pot has lots of air holes on the side, which I prefer, I make all mine with air holes on the sides now. If you wrap that tea cloth around them and you get some of the air roots, the leaves, everything, just wrap the tea towel around it. Let it stay there for a half an hour or so. They love it. You just look at them and it's been warm and humid. And what do you think it is in the jungle? Warm and humid. So that is one of my secrets. So if I think they're still in the window, the weather's getting hot, and I want to give them a treat or shade them from the direct sun, I get my tea cloths out, I wrap them up, and I leave them for a half an hour, and they look rejuvenated. So my next step, I keep forgetting. Okay, my next step is that I am going to take this very carefully out of the pot, and I'll get back to you when I've done that, so they're not wasting too much time. Even though it's in bloom, this has been one of my healthiest orchids. I never find scale on it and nothing, but I do feel that it's a little heavy, and I think this stuff is the problem, and it's in the center. So whether I've got too many bad roots, I don't know, but we will see, and I will get right back to you. You wouldn't believe what I found. I can't believe I did it. Things went pretty good, but I did do this. I have to show you. I always wondered why it was so heavy. In here, in the bottom, I put rocks. Not a bad idea. Not a bad. Apparently it liked it. And so, let's see. Yep. So, there we go. See? Rocks. Lots of air holes. Lots of holes on the bottom. This has been one of my healthiest orchids. You know, sometimes you notice things about them, but this one has been so healthy, and I was scared I was going to lose my keiki, and I think I broke a leaf on him. It's partly off. It's too bad. The keiki got a little injured. I'm just leaving it anyway. I wasn't planning on taking it off. So this is how we look. I'm cleaning my kitchen floor when I'm done. It doesn't bother me. What can I say? It doesn't bother me. I'll clean it up. So I want you to see this because this is important. This is how you can tell when you finally repot something you potted yourself and you did as best you could. So this has been in the orchid potting mix that you buy. A lot of it has broke down. There was some big pieces in the top. Some of it's fairly good, but the rest is in the sink because I had to really soak it. So this was let me see if I can get this just right. Come on, there you go. This was the mix, and I had to soak this in water for a half an hour, and I'm actually quite impressed. The roots, I don't feel any squishy ones. They're all hard. No wonder it's been healthy. I am so proud of myself. So what I plan to do is I'm not using all bought mix because I'm afraid it's a little too fit for them. There was one I threw out there. You know, this, it is, there's a couple little pieces. We'll just throw it on the floor. You should see my greenhouse. I do housework though. Okay, this is healthy. Let's get it, plant and all, poor little thing. I tried so hard, but some of the roots were going out the holes and some weren't. The outside air roots, they're going to stay on the top. It's healthy. So what are we going to do? I am not putting, I could put a few rocks on the bottom for something about it that they liked. So it might help wait. Oh yeah, I have to show you what Jack did. He made me a little stand for, it's got a weight on the bottom so that when I put my orchid in, I have some support for it, but I also have a place when it grows. And you know what? Maybe I'll throw a few of those rocks. I'll throw a few of those rocks on the stand. I can't believe I did that. No wonder that pot was so heavy. I should have a picture. There's a good idea every time you repot something. Besides writing it on the sticker tag that I don't have. Geminis are known for not liking to make lists. So, I've chosen this. It has lots of holes. It'll fit in here. And what I plan to do is when the keikie's ready, and it won't be for a while because I injured one leaf. Anyway, when it's ready, it's going to go beside its mom in this pot. So there we are. We're going to put some bark. So this was labeled as orchid bark at the, it's called Hannah's Orchard. And so that's where I got it. And then we put some bark in. And I think we'll put a little bit of this. Like I say, when you're using that bag mix, now this, it almost looks like dirt, and there's a lot of it in there, so you have to be careful when you're repotting how that's going to affect your plant. Now, we're going to put her in there. Poor thing. I know I did it in bloom, but you know the purple orchid here, I took it out of the hot window because we are starting to actually get hot weather now. So I just pried it up with that vase. It's got two short aerial roots coming out, and it's also got a spike starting. And I thought, oh my goodness, that thing's going crazy. So what I'm going to do, now we know I have lots of air holes, and what is good about all these air holes is spa day, the humidity from a hot towel gets in. I also walk around in the summer, and if I'm not watering, I spray. I spray all the outside where the holes are. And apparently it seems to like it. And we're going to let some of these get out of here, like they were. Oh, there's people that don't put aerial roots in, and people that do. This little aerial root was coming out of one hole and going in another one. So I think we're going to leave some out. These longer ones, they can go back down. I think we'll be good. And now all I have to do is get my bark into all the edges. You don't really have to watch me do that. So that's what I'll be doing. And I'll take my time and I'll really poke it down in there. And then it's going to sit up in this pot. It will get sunlight, and I can care for it. And that's how it's going to be when I finish getting the bark in. And I feel like I'm at the beach. Maggie, what's Mom done? She's down here. Okay, so that was that. And I remembered to tell you about spa day. And as I go out, I'll try and get you a close-up of this light. And that's it for today. And we'll keep in touch because the next time I'll be out in the patio.